Boy oh boy has it been a long wait, but my fellow Ace colonists, if you were part of the Discord you'd get that joke, the time is finally upon us and the trailer for the third Sonic movie is here. If you've spent even several seconds in close proximity to this channel, you'll know just how special the character of Shadow the Hedgehog is to me. And while I've already done all those shrill screams of joy you've seen around YouTube already, think that, but louder and with more crying. But now I think it's time we analyze the trailer with a more level head and discuss what all of it might mean for the third movie's story as well as Shadow's character. They gave away a lot more than I was expecting for a first trailer, so let's just dive right in, shall we? The trailer opens with a conversation between Tom and Sonic. Tom is praising Sonic for going through everything he did and still managing to find his family without ever changing who he is. I guess a nice juxtaposition to Shadow, who, spoiler alert, did let the horrific tragedy he suffered change him. The models for these guys are looking super clean. Like, I know with each passing year CGI technology gets better, but it definitely feels like the budget was ramped up for this movie. Who would have thought we'd ever end up here after where we nearly started out? Ignoring the fact that there probably wouldn't have been any sequels, we'd likely be staring down the barrel of this. We then get an aerial shot of Prison Island, and it seems quite a bit smaller than it did in Sonic Adventure 2, so I get the impression we won't be spending very long here in the movie. We finally lay eyes on Shadow properly as he's breaking out at the facility. And once again, I just have to take my hat off to the visuals because my boy is looking good. It's not clear who exactly released Shadow here though, and that question only continues to grow as the trailer moves on. Living up to being an adaptation, the movie opts to have Gun hire Team Sonic to take on Shadow, which is quite a big pivot away from the whole mistaken identity and Gun relentlessly hunting Sonic that Sonic Adventure 2 went for. The Gun commander explains to Sonic that Shadow's story is a lot like his, but where he found family and friends, Shadow only found pain and loss. Which, at a basic level, and especially so in the movie universe, is a pretty great way of summing up for the audience how Sonic and Shadow are different. The shot of Maria and Shadow holding up their hands through the glass gave me serious Project Shadow vibes. Seriously, if you haven't watched it or my video on it, do yourself a favor. It's a must-watch for any Shadow fan. We then move on to that scene we've all been wondering about, and see Shadow and Gerald crouched over Maria's body. I'm not gonna lie, this is fucking visceral. Like, in entertainment, deaths are usually dramatized, often even romanticized, but here, this scene looks like you would expect it to if you watched it happen in real life. Maria is obscured, but clearly motionless, and the wide shot just punches you right in the gut with how small the world must feel right now for Shadow and Gerald as the Gun soldiers close in around them. I really hope that this isn't all we get in the movie though, and that they do the full scene justice. Because if they have me this hyped with just a wide shot of the aftermath, I dare only imagine how good the full scene would be. If they do this right, they're going to have the audience rooting for Shadow to end the world, and personally, I think that should always be the goal. One thing I am wondering about though is exactly where this scene takes place. You'd have to assume the Ark, since that's where it all went down in the game universe, but here we can see upturned vehicles, I'm guessing the aftermath of the soldiers' fight with Shadow. But why would they have arrived in trucks if they were attacking a space colony? And why would a space colony need them if they were already there? And the distinct lack of an obvious Ark anywhere else in the trailer honestly has me confused. Granted, it is only the first trailer, so anything can change, but it is still a bit weird. I do think though that we should probably strap ourselves in and make peace with the fact that this is an adaptation though, because seemingly a lot has changed in how they're delivering this story. The fight against Shadow now seems to be global, with some of it even taking place in London. In a nod to the iconic scene from Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic and friends jump from a Gun helicopter to face Shadow, and we're treated to some playful banter between Sonic and Knuckles. Knuckles is busting Sonic's chops about Shadow being far more impressive looking than the last Hedgehog he fought. And it's nice to see not only that broship they had in the second movie continue, but more of their movie dynamics reflecting what we're now seeing in the games. That continuity is important and will make the transition from movie to game all the more easier for new fans. And with this movie, I anticipate a lot of new Sonic fans. It really is a good time for the series. We then finally get to hear Shadow speak.
You're a colorful bunch.
It wasn't the line I was expecting. My money would have been on the classic Faker exchange, but it's definitely something I can imagine Adventure-era Shadow saying. And while I am very happy with the choice of Keanu Reeves, it only makes me wish that somehow David Humphrey could have taken the role. But I'm biased, so who cares? It's now that we see probably the only thing I've heard people complain about in this trailer, and that is Knuckles getting humbled by Shadow. All I'll say is, look, I agree it is a shame on his 30th anniversary, and the manner in which he was simply overpowered obviously isn't great for a character whose main deal is strength. But everyone got their asses kicked. Tails and Sonic too, and Knuckles got this very same courtesy in his debut movie. He was unstoppable. This is Shadow's movie, and you can bet your ass he's going to live up to the title of Ultimate Lifeform. Over the course of the movie, I think things will come right, and everyone will get their moment to shine. But seriously, Shadow is a beast here. I'm not sure if this is meant to be Chaos Snap or full-on Chaos Control, but there's no sign of an Emerald and he's just warping all over the place and kicking ass. His run animation is just perfection as well, and thinking about seeing all this on the big screen just puts a big stupid grin on my face. God damn, I love this franchise. We then see a ship rising from the Thames in London. A ship that I'm really hoping is not meant to replace the Ark, before getting some shots of Shadow's escape from Prison Island. And of course he gets that awesome signature Chaos Snap kick in, because why shouldn't he? We then see Tom in trouble and dressed in a gun uniform for some reason, before Shadow activates what looks to be some sort of wormhole while Team Sonic is tied up. I'm hoping this isn't the Doomsday scenario that Shadow sets out to activate, because that's simply not as cool as the Bio-Lizard and crashing the Ark into the Earth. Especially since it looks like this takes place on board that ship that came out of the river. I feel like I shouldn't be this nervous that the Bio-Lizard and Ark won't be in this movie, yet here I am. I think that would be taking the term adaptation a little bit too far though. And all of this could easily just be being saved for a later reveal. Not to mention, what would there be for Shadow and Sonic to team up against in the end? Yeah, everything's gonna be fine, right? Through desperation, and against the advice of Tails, Sonic is forced to approach Robotnik for help, and we're then greeted with the movie version of Eggman we've all been waiting for. In his own words, if he can't rule the world, he might as well save it. You have to imagine Robotnik has an angle here. I know he also helped at the end of Sonic Adventure 2, but that was only after he was left with no choice. And it was him himself who released Shadow and set that game's events in motion, so it made sense. Here, I don't know.
I need room.
So he lets out his suit, even though it's barely noticeable in the very next scene, and works with Team Sonic to stop Shadow. Who gets his fucking motorbike, by the way. We finally get a scene that most people seem to think shows the Space Colony Ark. This could conceivably be the giant mustache blades we all know and love, but it's a really cut-off picture, and it also looks like it could just be the same ship we've seen in London. I'm hopeful, but still not sure. We then see Team Sonic talking with someone in a gun uniform in a Chow-themed restaurant before saving them from a missile attack. We then get this exchange between Sonic and Shadow.
What did you do? What I had to.
The orchestral version of Live and Learn that plays over these next few scenes is awesome, but I hope this is just for the trailer and it's the proper version with lyrics in the movie itself. I don't think an orchestral version will pack quite the same punch, at least I know it won't for me. I won't hold my breath though, with the music direction these movies usually take, it could end up being anything. On a more positive note, I only got increasingly sold on Keanu Reeves as Shadow. It's crazy how many childhoods he's probably going to define by voicing him, because this will be where a whole new generation of fans will be introduced to the character. And remembering how awesome that experience was the first time for me, it really is something special he's signed up for. And if it couldn't be David Humphrey or Jason Griffith, I'm glad it's him. After grinding up a skyscraper on his bike like a badass, Shadow and Sonic clash in a nod to the Sonic Adventure 2 opening, and we then get probably the biggest narrative change and reveal of the entire trailer. Gerald, Robotnik's grandfather, is still alive, and as the two embrace each other, we're left with 1,000,001 questions about what this change might mean for the story. Like, I know execution by firing squad probably wasn't on the cards for this movie, but I honestly wasn't expecting Gerald to be alive. So what does that mean for the Ark? Where's the Bio-Lizard? Was it Gerald who released Shadow in this universe? Regardless of the answer to any of these questions, I get the impression both the action and story for this movie will be fast and furious. And I'm finding it harder and harder to see how the likes of Amy or Rouge can fit in anywhere. Not while making their appearance meaningful anyway. Overall though, I'm extremely optimistic for this movie. You can easily see the care and attention that went into everything. And while it is disappointing that we may not get to see everyone or everything we want, I still believe the creators have the best interest of the movie series at heart. I don't want to see them half-ass Amy or Rouge, and I can also recognize the hard work that went into adapting what is a pretty convoluted story onto the big screen. The visual effects are stunning, they're tackling the difficult subject matter, and I'm confident Keanu as Shadow will pay off big time. And even with all that said, I get the feeling there's a lot more to be revealed and that when it is, things will end up being even better. But now I'd like to hear what you guys think. Are you sold on the third movie already like me? Or do you still have reservations? And what did you think of Keanu Reeves as Shadow? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and make sure to turn on notifications to see more from me. If you'd like to support the channel and see your name credited at the end of my videos, you can always check out my Patreon or become a channel member. Your support is much appreciated, and a huge thank you to those of you who already have. But for now, a big thank you for watching. And as always guys, take care.